Hey, what's up everybody? This is Work 501 and today I want to show you guys another build, and this is going to be an Amara build that is good for Mayhem 4 at level 57. Now I wanted this first build to be much easier to acquire and not require near as much good rolls or even higher level gear because we just got the new levels. So a lot of people are coming back. A lot of people probably still have mostly level 50 gear. So I wanted to make it very easy to have a good build that you could easily go and farm pretty much everything on Mayhem 4. So the majority of the stuff I'm using with this build, pretty much everything besides the weapon, is not from the newest DLC and is still level 50 items, so still quite a bit weaker than the level 57 versions you could get. So with all that, we can now go into the build. Now, this build is using the Spiritual Driver class mod, so that does dictate a bit of our talent choices. And this build is not utilizing 2 capstones because now you can get 2 end of the talent tree capstones if you want to. But this build is much stronger, not trying to go for one of the other capstones because both the other ones really don't help this build out that much. So first off, what's pretty important for this build because of our class mod is getting mindfulness. So we go 2 into Root to Rise, 3 into personal space Root to Rise for health. Personal space just increase damage depending on how close you are to the target. Now with the weapon we're specifically using for this build, we're going 5 into Arms Deal, which increases your splash damage and reduces the splash damage you take, which does help a little bit to help you not kill yourself as much, and the splash damage increases your damage. Mindfulness for that move speed increase with our class mod that also gives us more damage, a lot more damage. And for the next skill tree we're going into Fist of Elements. We're going Anima for increased status effect damage and chance. We're going Steady Hand, and this is also specifically for the weapon I am using because it is super inaccurate, has insane recoil, so I want Steady Hands to make it a little bit easier to control. Then we're going Tempest for increased elemental damage. I like going Wildfire, especially a lot of stuff in this build, or quite a bit of the talent choices in this build are because of one of the new Guardian ranked talents, which is Harmageddon. Enemies take 5% more damage per unique status effect affecting them, so that's just 5% increased damage for every status effect you can get on a target, which is a really big damage increase, and that does affect a decent bit of our talent choices. So Wildfire can spread your status effects to other enemies, which will help quite a bit and get that increased damage per however many status effects are on them. We have Dread, which just increases your gun damage when you grasp an enemy, which you don't do a ton. But then we have Indiscriminate, which can just ricochet bullets everywhere, which is very strong. Deep Well increases the magazine size with elemental weapons. Then 5 out of 5 into Sustainment, which is our main survivability talent, which gives us lifesteal from our elemental damage. Then we're going 5 into Conflict. Now this is also being used because of the new Guardian rank talent. Whenever Amara applies a status effect to an enemy, she gains a chance to randomly electrocute, ignite, or melt that enemy, which is just more status effect chances on top of just your weapons. So just a lot more status effect chances. You can apply a lot more status effects, giving you that 5% increased damage for each one. Then Forceful Expression, extra elemental damage with our weapon. Now the rest of our points are going into the Mythical Assault tree, 1 into Do Harm and 1 into Violent Tapestry. Now these aren't super important for the build, but they do give that rush stack and just pretty much activate them, so it does give us a little bit of extra effects with those. Fast Hands for reload speed and for mode switch speed if you're using if you're switching between your different elements on our weapon. And then Transcend, you gain increased accuracy and critical damage after you use your action skill, and this will be up pretty much all of the time, or most of the time. So that is all of our talents, and now we can go in. Oh, also the abilities we're using Ties of Bind. Mainly this build, you're not going to actually be hitting people with your grasp, but if you do, Ties of Bind is the best one. Allure, if we hit anything with our action skill, and then whatever element you want to be is pretty much whatever elemental weapon you are mainly using. So if you're using fire, you want Soul Fire because of our class mod, which we will go a little bit into it, but mainly you want to use whatever status effect element or action skill element that's the same as the weapon you are using. So now we can go into our items. Now the weapon I'm using is the only DLC 2 item in this build, and this is the Insider, a new melee one shotgun that I did a video on I think yesterday, and this is an amazing shotgun. It does so much damage and it's pretty easy to use. Besides the recoil, you can get ×5 one, you can get ×12. I think people have gotten a ×6 as well. They can be any element, and it's pretty much just a shotgun that you shoot. It has a bunch of elemental blasts that come out, they penetrate through things, and then they blow up, and they do a ridiculous amount of damage. They have a really high chance to apply status effects, which is good with a new Guardian rank and Amara in general, and has a pretty good damage over time. Not the highest, but still a pretty good damage over time, especially for the chance that it has to apply those status effects. The only issue with this weapon, like I said, the recoil kind of hard to control, but it's not crazy because it doesn't have the craziest fire rate, and also it can run out of ammo pretty quickly with how fast you can shoot it, especially if you're using like a ×12 that consumes 4 ammo per shot. And this is the main weapon I'm going to be using. I'm pretty sure there's a random drop. I got it as a random drop, and I'm not certain if there's a dedicated drop for it as well. Now for the other items, pretty much I'm just using this. This thing is super strong, so it's good for bosses and just running around killing anything. It's pretty much good for anything in the game. It is incredibly strong. And if you want to use any other weapons with this build, pretty much anything that's been good on Amara since the game came out is going to be good. Cutsmans, you know, pretty much you guys all know tons of weapons are good on Amara. Pretty much anything else, but I really like using this right now. And for the rest of our items, they're pretty much all level 50. My grenade is a 57, but for the grenade, pretty much all you want is on action skill end, gain 50% of whatever elemental damage you want. You can get that on the shield as well. Make sure not to stack the same element type on the shield and grenade or it won't work. And that's pretty much all you want for the shield and the grenade. I still always recommend rechargers because they're super tanky shields, super good. So just get the elemental anointed on either of these, even if they're still level 50. Like if you get a 57 one, much better. I'm just doing this because it's super easy to still have these from earlier on in the game's life and still use them, and they're still super strong. You can still do everything on Mayhem 4 with these level 50 items. For the class mod, again, spiritual driver, and pretty much any roles are going to be good. You can see I don't have the best of rolls. Pretty much my rolls aren't that great at all. For the talent rolls on it, you want +3 mindfulness. That's pretty much the main thing you're going for with that. Then the artifact is pretty important because you want the elemental projector, because we always will have that 90% increased damage. I have a victory rush and a very good rolled artifact, so this is a really good rolled one. But if you get area of effect damage on it and magazine size, it's really good. And then you just want the elemental projector because our class mod applies our status effect to us, so we're always having that procced. And that's pretty much the entirety of the build. It's still a very similar build to a lot of builds we've been using since the spiritual driver has come out, just with some new talents with our talent points that help us get that new guardian rank status, stacking more effectively to give us a lot more damage with a new DLC 2 weapon. So that's the entirety of the build. Subscribe if you want to see more Borderlands 3 content. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about this build. And I will be doing a ton of different builds, a ton of more unique builds, because there are opportunities for that in DLC 2. And thanks for watching.
Enjoy. Helping hand. Hands up. Hold them off for me. I can feel the power. Wasted my time. justice for Maya.
Don't fight like this time!
Oh, I could get used to this. Back off!
You're a monster! But in a fucking good way! Wow, 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 wow!
Hands up! I'm unstoppable!
Nice ass rub! Many things I never felt.
Didn't break a sweat!
Open! Out!
Who wants a free kill? Gotta hand it to me.